Florida to be there for it. Ben Wallace was there. Artie Kander also was inducted. They had like a little mini reunion. And the love that those guys still have for Coach Brown is incredible.
Which is interesting because a lot of people around here don't.
Yes.
He's viewed by some, and this is one of the more bizarre ones to me, negatively by some Piston fans. Even though he was here 2 years, won a championship, we got to Game 7 the following year before losing to the Spurs. But because of his desire to go to New York, his desire to go to Cleveland, or some might suggest a massive smear campaign against Larry Brown, he is viewed as a
traitor,
a negative, or as the late Bill Davidson called him, quote, a bad person. Okay.
He thanked Mr. D a lot last night.
And thanks, Mr. D.
Yeah.
Can you leave it right there? All right, so which Detroit sports figure, in your mind, Stoney, has been treated the most unfairly over the years? You can say while they were here or in the immediate aftermath, where they did better than people gave him credit for, or they don't remember him properly in your mind. 248-539-9797, ticket text 97136.
I think
The Mount Rushmore.
I think it's got to be Sergei Fedorov, because there were, even when he was playing here before he had any contract deal, there were some people who, I don't know if it had anything to do with being Russian or whatever, but they didn't think,
I think he had a lot to do with being Russian.
I don't think he tried enough. He takes too many shifts off and things like that. Where if his name is, you're right, you bring it up. If his name was, Frank Smith, what do they call him, Sam Jones?
Sam Jones.
Yeah, he was from Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. People would have loved him. So he had that while he was playing. Then when he left, people booed him because he took less money allegedly to leave here, and I think it's ridiculous. Now I think in retrospect, a lot of fans sit there and go to the game and say, how the hell is 91 not up there?
Yeah, it's funny. There's been like a turnaround. I mean, granted, some fans were with him the entire time.
Yes.
But for the fans, when he came back with Anaheim and then Columbus, that booed him every time he touched the puck. And yet, you had a guy like Marty LaPointe who left Detroit for more money.
Yes.
Which, to me, usually is the ultimate, oh, no. He left for less money. I mean, look, it goes back to that contract offer he signed with Carolina.
Right.
That's what rubbed a lot of fans the wrong way. Then he came back, and in '98, in the playoffs, he was the best player on the ice for the first couple rounds, got his big fat bonus, and then wasn't quite as good in the conference finals and the Stanley Cup finals, though he did score the cup-winning goal against Washington. But nevertheless, yeah, I think the answer is Sergei Fedorov as well, but there's some other ones as well.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I like Larry Brown to me is the ultimate. I don't know how a guy could be as successful as he was, and then when they fired him or he left or however you want to phrase it, and they brought in Flip Saunders, there were a lot of Piston fans who celebrated that move, and I was like, can we at least admit, and God bless Flip, the late great Flip Saunders, but can we at least admit that the Pistons were worse off at coach going from LB to Flip?
Yes.
I mean, it just goes without saying.
Yeah, the players kind of, because as much as they love LB now, he was kind of a pain, and they loved having offensive freedom.
Sure.
But they needed the discipline that Flip Saunders did not give, and that's part of the reason they never went back to the finals.
How about Grant Hill?
Grant Hill's a good one.
Because Grant Hill was a really good player, and at times a great player. He was an all-star.
He was a great player here. He really was.
Yeah, he was statistically, but it just didn't have. In a way, it's kind of like. I mean, he put up big numbers, but didn't win playoff series. He was the superstar that came here immediately after the Bad Boys, and so he paled in comparison to their success and their kind of, grit or personality. I mean, look,
he wasn't from the hood.
Right. He was a little too polished. He went to Duke. He played the piano. He was on the cover of GQ magazine. He was saving sports. He was one of those guys, and there have been a few in Detroit that were bigger nationally than they were locally.
Right.
I mean, yes, there were people who loved Grant Hill. I'm not going to say there weren't, but not as many as I always felt like there should have been.
I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
And you know who else? Now, it's completely changed since he came back for a second stint, but Chris Osgood, round one with Detroit. I mean, people, he won the Stanley Cup in '98, right? But he never got the love for that until he came back and did it again in 2007, right?
Yeah.
I mean, people didn't care that much. Chris Osgood left.
No, you're right. Actually, to be honest with you, in some ways, I would put Osgood ahead of Fedorov. I mean, I think that might be the best one, because I've long contended I don't think any athlete in any professional sport took more you-know-what from his local fan base and came through more than Chris Osgood.
You're so right.
I mean, yeah, a lot of local athletes will take you-know-what, and they'll take it, and they'll take it to heart, and they won't perform. He took it, and he took his game to another level.
Yeah.
And you're right, second stint when he came back and won the Stanley Cup and should have won a second one, I think fans started to really appreciate it more. So when you have the Osgood Hall of Fame debate, more Detroiters are in favor of it than are against it. But that first stint, yeah.
I know.
And then they got Hasek. I mean, it's
Right.
like, what a massive upgrade. And it was. I'm not trying to say that Osgood's better than Hasek, but still, it was like, you just got rid of a Stanley Cup winning goalie for a great goalie, don't get me wrong, but it just dismissed everything that he accomplished.
I totally agree with you.
Yeah, that's a very good one. And then, of course, like we said, to start this entire conversation, there's Ken Holland, and you can put Joe Dumars into that conversation as well.
Yes.
Guys who won championships, did it, in a unique way. I've always said I think that Holland's retooling on the fly after the salary cap came into place is amazing. And then Dumars winning a championship with apparently no Hall of Famers on the roster.
Correct.
Is amazing as well. I mean, I'm not sure that'll be repeated.
I think what saved Holland for the Holland haters, and I wasn't one, was the natural handoff to Isaac.
Yeah.
I really think that's kind of saved face for
Legacy.
a lot of people. And so it wasn't like a sour ending to me because of that.
Yeah.
Dumars is, I mean, we don't even know what he thinks. Like, I think it's kind of sad. Like, I was hard on Dumars the last few years because I couldn't stand that he supported the boycott in Philly that day that did happen, and that he didn't stand up for his coach there. I thought Joe Dumars was a different person than that.
Where is he? Is he
Yeah,
here?
that's my problem.
He's as like an assistant consultant GM for the Sacramento Kings. And I know he's like runs an agency in LA somewhere, but I know they're redoing their house here, they're moving here still. I have no idea.
I saw his wife the other day.
Did you?
Yeah. So I assume he still lives here.
Yeah, he does.
He doesn't come back for anything.
No, I know.
It feels like there's bad blood, and I don't see why. I don't, I didn't like the end of his era, but I all is forgiven. Time heals.
I would hope so.
Anger.
I know it has nothing to do with the fans or anything. Just the way
Still mad.
as far as why he hasn't come back for like any of the the reunions and all that.
Is there bad blood with Gores?
Maybe that he didn't feel he was treated properly. I have no idea. That's what I've heard.
248-539-9797. Ticket text 97136. What athletes, what GMs do you think got kind of a raw deal or were treated the most unfairly here in Detroit over the years? Jamie and Stoney, 97 won the ticket.
Capital Mortgage Funding, they are the best around. We know the mortgage industry has changed over the decades that Capital Mortgage Funding's been around. But one thing hasn't changed. The amazing customer service that Harry Glantz, Dan Burke, and their great staff give you. They've been doing that for, like I said, over 2 decades. And what it means for you is when you call 1-800-LOW-RATED Capital Mortgage Funding, you have no outrageous fees, no outrageous costs, and they won't put you in a bad mortgage program like other companies do. And like other companies did. Remember the mortgage crisis about 11, 12 years ago? Yeah. So Capital Mortgage Funding, they didn't have anything to do with that. Capital Mortgage Funding's been around for a long time. They do what's best for you, the customer, not the company. Rates are still pretty good, but you never know what's going to happen. And if you haven't refied in a while, what are you waiting for? Just throwing money away. Call them. They'll make the process smooth, easy, hassle-free. Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker.
Capital Mortgage Funding is powered by Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation, NMLS ID number 2289, Equal Housing Lender.
97.1 The Ticket. Traffic.
This report brought to you by 2 men and a truck. The roads are still accident-free so far this morning, but we're starting to see some heavier traffic volumes pick up in pockets along I-96, heading eastbound anywhere from US 23 to Novi Road. Same thing as you're heading into construction, 75 southbound between 14 and 12 Mile. Why call 2 men and a truck? If you're moving and you work hard, there's a little time in your life to pack, and you need pros, people who care about your things as much as you do. That's why you call 2 men and a truck. Visit 2menandatruck.com today to get moving. I'm Michelle Pena in the WWJ 24-hour traffic center.
The Detroit Red Wings host the Edmonton Oilers. Pre-game tonight at 7:10 on 97.1 The Ticket.
This is Boomer Esiason with with the CBS Sports Minute. The Red Sox yesterday named Chaim Bloom as their new chief baseball officer. The 36-year-old Yale graduate proved himself over the past 15 years by doing the most with the least. Translation, he worked for the Tampa Bay Rays. Baseball's most frugal franchise forced Houston to a Game 5 in the ALDS. The Red Sox, whose payroll is $150 million richer, didn't make the postseason. So 1 year to the day after winning the World Series, proud Boston hired Bloom to replace the fired Dave Dombrowski. A year ago, Bloom was a finalist for the Mets GM job, which instead, in typical Wilpon fashion, went to a salesman, Brody Van Wagenen, whose flashy offseason moves backfired like a cheap cigar. Bloom reportedly had concerns that the Wilpons would hamper him financially and creatively, so maybe the baseball gods are belatedly repaying Boston for Bill Buckner. I'm Boomer Esiason. Do you get into bed and find your mind still going? If so, try ZzzQuil Pure Z's liquid melatonin. It's made with an optimal level of melatonin for no next day grogginess. Pure Z's liquid melatonin, because sleep is a beautiful thing, at stores now.
At AutoZone, we're all about giving you more ways to get the most out of your ride, no matter the road. Our free AutoZone Fix Finder service not only identifies your check engine light code, but also troubleshoots the likely cause of your check engine light for free, helping you save time and money. Looking to drive with better fuel economy? Right now, get 2 bottles of Seafoam Concentrated Fuel Injector Cleaner for just $8. Visit us at AutoZone.com and start your job fast. Restrictions apply.
Do you get into bed and find your mind still going? If so, try ZzzQuil Pure Z's liquid melatonin. It's made with an optimal level of melatonin for no next day grogginess. Pure Z's liquid melatonin, because sleep is a beautiful thing, at stores now.
At Twin Peaks, we encourage all sports fans to experience the finer things in life, like barrel-aged bourbon poured over a handmade ice ball, or one of our classic whiskey cocktails, like the Sazerac or Tennessee Stout, paired with a made-from-scratch menu item for a meal worth indulging in. Our Wicked Good costume party is here. Get to Twin Peaks October 25th through 31st and catch plenty of eye candy wrapped in leather and lace. Join us if you dare. Twin Peaks eats, drinks, scenic views.
How to play soccer today. Have a kid. Buy the kid a soccer ball. Sign up for a town league. Write a check. Practice. Practice. Ignore other sports. Focus on soccer. Drop Town's Rec League. Sign up for travel team. Write a check. Travel. Give up weekend obligations. Travel. Sign up for camp. Write a check. Sign up for camp. Write a check. Sign up for elite camp. Write a big check. Kid turns 10. Sign up for elite team. If kid makes it, write a check. Sign up for a private trainer. Write another check. Write another check because you think it's good for your kid. Only to have that kid decide they want to quit playing that sport that you wrote all those checks for. Now they want to play another sport. It's a little late to start, so write a check to a private coach to catch up. Buy the kid new gear. Sign up for a new league. Write a check. Practice. Write a check. Ignore other sports. Focus on this one. Write a check.
65% of low-income kids have given up on sports. Ever wonder why? Don't retire, kid. Visit ProjectPlaySEMI.org and find out what the cost of youth sports is costing us. Proudly supported by Project Play, Southeast Michigan, and the Ralph C. Wilson Jr. Foundation.
If your furnace sounds like a screeching pterodactyl, or keys tumbling in a dryer, don't hesitate. Call the experts at Flame Heating and Cooling. Go online now to flamefurnace.com or call 888-234-2340.
Download the Radio.com app, favorite 97.1 The Ticket, and check out the Home and Home Show with Radio.com Insider, Ross Tucker and Dave Briggs, Swings and Misses with Jen and Cody Decker, and Scallon Pals with Brian Scalabrine. Available on Radio.com.
The Detroit Pistons play the Toronto Raptors. Pre-game tomorrow night at 7:05 on 97.1 The Ticket.
Very underrated Arnold Schwarzenegger movie of the 80s, Raw Deal. Right? Remember the Schwarzenegger? You don't remember the Schwarzenegger? Somebody gave Schwarzenegger a raw deal. No one gives Schwarzenegger a raw deal. That was the money line. So we're talking about who in sports got raw deals by the Detroit sports fan. Larry Brown was, of course, honored last night. Stoney was a part of the group feting Coach Brown at the induction ceremony to the Michigan Jewish Sports Hall of Fame.
Great. It was great seeing Ben Wallace and Rip Hamilton.
Are they Jewish?
No.
Oh, they're not.
They were supporting Coach Brown.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Just asking the
Earl
question.
Jordan, John Long.
Are they Jewish?
No, they were there
Okay.
too. Chris Illich got a prestigious award. He's not Jewish.
He's not?
No.
not treated unfairly. He faked an illness to get paid by Davidson and could in New York. Everybody knew what he was doing. His actions were self-fiction. He did not fake an illness.
Fake an injury. Now, you could argue that he should have gotten it taken care of before the season, so Gar Hurd, didn't have to take over.
It really threw off the Pistons.
Because, I think Davidson, from what I understand, does blame that for not having home court advantage for the finals. That's absurd.
Oh, my God. Really? Are you serious?
Yeah.
That shows how great a coach he was.
I know.
If they're losing regular season games. Ticket text 97136. Prince Fielder. What do you think about that?
No, I think he got what he deserves with his comments afterwards. I don't think people might have realized how good he was so after he left, because he had, 2 seasons here with over 100 RBIs each year, I believe.
He was really good here, but he was not quite as... You know what I mean?
Yes.
He was really good, he just wasn't quite as good.
And he was bad in the World Series.
Bad in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah. That one year, the second year he was here, he was almost non-existent. I think didn't he have 1 RBI in the postseason?
13.
Yeah. Really bad in the postseason. Yeah, the comments that, basically Evan Jenkins and Jeff Rieger ran him out of town by getting him to say those things in the, but I always felt those things were a little, he was trying to say, look, you gotta have perspective here, but it didn't come off all that well. I understand that. He never really had too many great, quote-unquote, moments, right? Like, there were times you're like, oh boy, we need Prince to come through big here, and he came through. That didn't happen nearly as much. How about this one? This one's for Paul. Dan Orlovsky. That can't be serious, is it? I mean, come on. It says couch coaches don't understand what he really brought to our team. It's a backup quarterback.
Sometimes he was a third stringer.
Yeah. I mean, what am I missing?
He was good in the room.
Great. So is Kellen Moore.
So Paul and I are talking about this behind the glass, and we're thinking maybe because of his ability to break down film, but we're thinking okay, every quarterback in the NFL can break down film. They just don't do it on TV like Dan Orlovsky does.
Right. I mean, Romo's almost like a Houdini. I mean, in what he predicts. Fedorov for sure. The number should be retired. Jim Leland didn't know how good we had him until he was gone. People
He wasn't treated unfairly. There were people. He had some people who, he had his critics.
Sure.
Like anybody would.
His approval rating, like we did the approval rating last week for Harbaugh, his approval rating was easily 80 to 85%.
Yes.
Fans definitely liked him. Let's go to Rashid in Detroit on 97.1 The Ticket. Hello, Rashid.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, buddy. How are you?
Great, man. This topic, the person that stands out to me is Joe Dumars. Now, he came to the Pistons team when Grant Hill was leaving, and he built the championship team from scratch, starting with Ben Wallace, and they stayed on top. They went to the Eastern Conference Finals 6 years in a row, won a championship, was a boneheaded play from Rasheed Wallace from winning 2 championships. And what happened that ended his reign was Bill Davidson died. Now, he made some questionable moves like anyone would. He wasn't perfect, but I don't think that he got the love that he deserved. As soon as things started going sour, the media and everybody else dogged Joe Dumars, and I don't think it was deserved. I think he should have been acknowledged more for the genius that built that championship team, knowing that he can do it and he probably could do it again had he not had to deal with a spending freeze and the team being sold. And
you make great points. Obviously, Karen Davidson, when she took over, was not as loose with the purse strings as her husband was. However, and you mentioned some of the moves. That does not excuse spending money on Charlie V and Ben Gordon. It doesn't excuse drafting Rodney White. I didn't even get to Darko. I just did. Okay, so there's all of that, and obviously he was great at building the team, keeping them up top for a long time. But he also has to take some responsibility for the collapse of the team. The coaches he hired afterwards, I mean, that's on him.
Yeah, agreed. Totally agree. His legacy is a complicated one, but the good outweigh the bad.
Yes, if you're doing your meter on Joe Dumars, the general manager, Still be, I believe, in the high 70s, right?
I think he's the second most important person in Detroit Pistons history, behind Bill Davidson, ahead of Isaiah Thomas, based on what he did as an executive and a player. I mean, he doesn't have a champagne like Isaiah does, but still, I mean, I think that's, I think that almost goes without saying. What was I going to say? Wouldn't you love to know, well, this is one of those kind of sliding door things in history. What if Grant Hill didn't leave? What if Grant Hill decided to stay? Would he have won a championship? Would he still be viewed as this great kind of legendary?
Well, if he was healthy.
If Grant were healthy.
Yeah.
Does Joe make the same moves that he makes? Does he get, you know, like, I mean, he already had Stackhouse. He got Stackhouse to play with Grant. Would he then deal Stackhouse for Rip? With, you know, they wouldn't have Ben. So they wouldn't have their kind of their main guy who everything was sort of built around, and that image was built around. Chips on the shoulders, second chance guys. I don't know.
He might have found somebody else like Ben. I mean, I don't know who that would have been.
Sure.
But you never know. It would have been fun to see.
Yeah.
That's for damn sure.
Someone had a memo.
I don't think they would have beat the Nets without Ben.
In the, 03, 04 finals?
Just that
04
era.
Conference finals.
To me, the Nets were a very, they were a tough team.
Yeah.
And I don't think the Pistons would have had the toughness. I mean, Ben brought a lot of intangibles.
Right. It depends who else we have no idea who else he would have gotten to play those, those
I mean, Grant was a good defender, and Grant obviously was an unbelievable offensive player. And those games were like 60 in the 60s, right? So would the presence of Grant Hill made the Pistons? I don't know.
No, I think it would have been a disaster because he never was healthy again.
I mean, I'm saying yes. I guess part of my...
That doesn't change.
Part of my theory is, what if Grant were still around? If that doesn't change, you can't, he can't make him healthy. So Dumars would... I mean, I guess Dumars, it was great, and I don't want to take anything away from what he did, and I say all that, I'm about to. His greatest move was foisted upon him. His greatest move was the move he didn't want to make, and that was trading Grant Hill to Orlando.
Right. And another great move I don't think he really wanted to make was getting rid of Carlisle. I think that was almost foisted upon him, too, to a certain extent.
Drew in Mount Clemens is on 97 won the ticket. Hey, Drew.
Morning, fellas. I don't know if y'all mentioned this, but it's kind of got in the car, but I'm thinking one of the ultimate raw deals has got to be Sergei Fedorov. He was not Stevie. He was kind of appreciated, but never as much as he should have been. And then when he left, he just got forced.
Yeah, we mentioned him right from the get-go, actually.
He might be the ultimate. No, it's all right. He might be the ultimate in terms of, fans liked him when he was here. They never loved him as much as maybe they should have, but they certainly liked him a lot. And then it got sour with the Carolina offer sheet. And there needs to be some massive welcome back Sergei event where they retire his number.
Maybe number 19.
Heather has news coming up next. What's up?
Well, I'm going to tell you why an umpire is suing the mayor of his town over a kickball game.
Good.
Yeah.
Time. We also have the 2 Grand Slam at 7:25. Time for a sports update with Tony on 97 won the ticket.
WXYT FM and WXYT HD1 Detroit. A radio.com sports station. Sports headlines. All day, every day. This is 97.1 The Ticket.
Brought to you by Mother Waddles. Could the Lions make a deal or two before the NFL's trading deadline arrives at 4 p.m. this afternoon? It's possible, especially with injuries thinning the team's depth at both running back and at safety. No matter what happens today, however, head coach Matt Patricia says that can't affect how he and the team get ready for Sunday's game in Oakland against the Raiders.
We're pushing forward like normal. Josh Slade's one got the treatment, and there you go. He actually gave me a really good scout report on Oakland. So we're just kind of pushing forward as normal.
Slay, of course, Pro Bowl defensive back Darius Slay, who reportedly is also on the trading block. Another game, yet another loss for the winless Miami Dolphins as they fall to the Pittsburgh Steelers 27-14 last night on Monday Night Football. Andre Drummond and Christian Wood combined for 37 points. They lead the Pistons to a